Today I'm going to review The Batman.
Good morning.
The Batman came out in 2022 and is directed by Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves also co-wrote it with Peter Craig. The music is by Michael Giacchino. It runs 176 minutes and cost $200 million to make. The film is a reboot. Batman has been fighting crime for 2 years, so this isn't an origin film. Ben Affleck was originally going to play Batman, but dropped out. When Matt Reeves rewrote the story, he wanted it to focus more on Batman's detective skills. So this film is similar to stories like Year One and The Long Halloween. The film stars Robert Pattinson as Batman, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, Andy Serkis as Alfred, and Colin Farrell as the Penguin. So the plot of this film is Batman versus the Riddler. He meets Catwoman, Penguin pops up as well. So it's got all the ingredients. However, it's done in a darker version of previous Batman films. Even more darker than the Christopher Nolan ones. And for me, this film's kind of like similar to the film Joker from 2019. That too had a dark version of the Joker character. So this is done similar with the Batman character. Another interesting similarity between both these films is the Joker, when I watched that, kept imagining Taxi Driver, because it was like influenced by Taxi Driver. This film, it's influenced by the film Seven. So Batman's kind of like the Brad Pitt character of Seven. The James Gordon character's more like the Morgan Freeman character in Seven. And the Riddler character's like the villain of Seven, killing all these people off and leaving clues. Very similar films. However, this film isn't as good as Joker. It's still pretty good. I'd probably class it as maybe my second favourite Batman film. It's not quite as good as The Dark Knight, but that's because of pacing issues, which I'll get to later. So the plot, with it being about the Riddler, that's a perfect way to show Batman's detective skills as he's solving the riddles. And the riddles are pretty good. In Pattinson's version of Batman, he's more of a brooding character. He's never happy. And the version of Catwoman in this film, it's probably the best Catwoman I've seen in a film. Even better than the Michelle Pfeiffer version, which was a bit too campy. Cool, Phil! Catwoman's hot! Talk about pussy! And speaking of camp, the Penguin character, I thought, oh god, the Penguin's in it. It's going to be bloody terrible. But it isn't it. Even his character's done in a dark version, like a more believable version. And it's amazing it's Colin Farrell under all that makeup. He's unrecognisable. Well, for me, the star of this film is the Riddler. I thought the character was brilliant. The guy who plays him, I love his laugh. Really crazy laugh. And his twisty face when you see him without the mask. Thought that was excellent. Yeah, the Riddler's a right looking funny, four-eyed bugger. Yes, he was, Bones. Oh, hell, I've got me bloody specs on. Phil wears specs. Huh? What's happened there? Character Alfred, he's not a patch off when Michael Caine played the character in the Christopher Nolan trilogy. There's a terrific car chase as well using the Batmobile, and I thought that was a really great action-packed sequence.
I got you! I got you!
But the film isn't perfect. It's almost 3 hours running time. Usually that's okay, but I watched this film like late on a night. I think it started about 9 o'clock and it didn't finish until after 12, after the adverts and everything. By then I was feeling a little bit tired. At least I didn't need to go for a wee. Hey, Phil! I needed a fucking piss halfway.
It's alright though.
But I do think the film would have been much better if it had been like half an hour cut out, really. Almost a 3-hour film's unnecessary, really, for this sort of film. Just over 2 hours is perfect. And there is some pacing issues. There's some scenes where it's quite surprising how long-winded they are. It's a shame, really, because this film could have been a masterpiece. It's just it was just too bloody long, and some scenes dragged. So they really should have did more editing. But even with all that, I'd still class it as the second best Batman film. Not quite as good as The Dark Knight. So this year's been excellent for superhero films so far. We've had Spider-Man, No Way Home, which was excellent. I haven't reviewed that film yet, but that was a real classic from Marvel. And this one for DC is a classic as well, even if the running time's a bit too long. One of the major bonuses about this film is it doesn't got that campy humour which previous Batman films did have. I much prefer films that are darker and more serious. Humour's alright in places, but if I want a proper laugh, I'll watch a comedy, not a superhero film. I only like campy stuff when it's in comedies, really, like Carry On films and that sort of thing. I don't like it in action type of films, although some of the Roger Moore Bond films are campy, that's okay. But I think modern films that actually work better now when stuff's treated more seriously, out the campiness. I think audiences prefer it now. That's why I used to go on about Doctor Who being a bit too camp. I wish it was more serious. This is a good example how if you treat a subject with seriousness, it's much more better. And I think Doctor Who would be if it was treated a bit more darker.
Yeah, I can't stand bloody camp stuff. It's for bloody old women who can't take stuff seriously. Soft as bloody shit it is.
So overall, out of 10, if it wasn't for the Pearson, this film would get top marks. But it's just that bit too long and a few scenes are a bit dragged out. So out of 10, it almost gets a 10, but I'll give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Almost a classic. What do you think, Bones? Do you like it?
Bloody excellent, Phil. Top marks. Better than that bloody crappy TV show they did. Camp as shit.
Okay, everybody, bye. See you next time. Like, subscribe and share. Bye. Bye.